All right, welcome back to Two Dykes and a Cow, episode 13. I actually think we may change our name to Two Dykes and a Cow. I don't know. We really want to know what you guys think. So
yeah, comment below. Where do they comment? Is
Again,
that on Spotify?
I don't know. We don't get very many comments.
Yeah. Or we'll make it
We'll make a reel. We'll make a reel. Comment below if you like Two Dykes and a Cow or
the Black Sheep podcast. I'm switching it. I like it.
Two Dykes and a Cow.
Two Dykes
We'll
and a Cow.
probably get censored for hate speech.
But we're the ones that are dykes,
I know,
saying that we're
but
dykes.
It only works if you're trans.
Or not, and you're
Or a
saying you're
man.
an ally.
Yeah, exactly. If you're a white, middle-aged woman who's heavy-set, then you can say whatever you want.
So I'm going to start with a disclaimer. This episode is speaking from our...
How come every time I say something, you have to do your disclaimer?
Jess. Come on.
You're right, it is 2023.
So the disclaimer is this is from our hearts only, our views only, our perspective only. This episode today is around conscious parenting and healing ourselves through conscious parenting. This episode, I mean, we talk about this stuff all the time because we're living it every single day, parenting. And it's the hardest and most rewarding job in the world. So, okay, we'll get into it. Why are we going to have this conversation? Why is this important?
Because it's uncomfortable, and we have a generation of kids that are growing up with parents that are completely asleep. And my kids grouped up and lumped in with those, and I would like to see some kind of a change so that Evelyn is not, so that there's more like-minded children out there like her, not these woke, radical. You know what conscious parenting is? I'll tell you what it is. When we get a text from our daughter at 9:00 at night when she's not here with us, and it's a video of her in the parking lot at an independent grocery store, and she's commenting on how in the windows they're flying Black Lives Matter. They've got like a black fist in the upper window. And then she's like, and then look at this, there's all these gay people hugging each other. Like this weird picture of, and then she turns it back on herself and she's like, what? And
At the grocery store?
And that's it. Like, that's the video. That's conscious parenting. Because that's having honest conversations with your child about reality.
Symbolism.
Mm-hmm. About reality, about truth and fiction. And we're two gay women in a same-sex marriage, and why are we having these conversations and very few heterosexual parents are having these conversations?
We can have hard conversations with kids and also teach them how to become critical thinkers and wonder, like, is just because that's happening doesn't mean that that's healthy or that's normal or that should be normal. Mm-hmm. Or that is the only way that you're allowed to be or should, quote unquote, should be. Mm-hmm. Right? But to teach them to think for themselves. But that requires us to also do that. Mm-hmm. So conscious parenting is also the unlearning of all the programs of what we thought parenting was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. Right? We only know parenting by what we were modeled growing up.
Yeah. So
conscious parenting then is looking at, what am I doing? How am I showing up for my child? And is this actually healthy? Like, we have the conversation so much of going, like, just because we got that growing up doesn't mean that that's good or healthy for her. Right. It's just what we thought was what was normal.
Yeah. I think that's really interesting. I do, because even she comments on it. Well, you got to eat it when you were a kid, like about Fruit Loops or something. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm lucky to be alive right now. That I'm not like a fucking diabetic, 8,000 pounds, and having all kinds of other health conditions.
Yeah.
Very, very lucky.
Well, and like you weren't healthy growing up.
No.
So your mom,
No.
like your family, your mom
Yeah.
mostly wasn't super healthy growing up. And my parents weren't either. Like we grew up with all the fads. So low fat,
Margarine.
margarine. We grew up with all the bad stuff, sugary cereals, Gushers, Fruit Loops, Fruit Roll-Ups. We grew up with all that shit food in our Nutri-Grain granola bars, like bologna sandwiches. Those were like my sandwiches. That was my lunch growing up. Nutri-Grain bar, a plum, bologna sandwich, and Gushers if I was lucky. Or if I was making my lunch, I was Mr. Noodles, like raw. I'd take like 2 or 3 things of Mr. Noodles and crunch them up at school, and that was what I would eat. Yeah, I could probably eat 3 of those a day.
My dad made me the same sandwich every single day, and it was like shaved like turkey on a whole grain, or like 12 grain or 18 grain or fucking 50 grain, all the fucking grains and seeds and shit. And it always had mustard and lettuce. And if I was lucky, cheese, like cheddar, like nice real, not like, like real cheddar, a flaky, an apple, or like some kind of a fruit. And yeah.
And here we are.
Which actually, that's pretty good.
That flaky
That's
sounds
really
gross, but
well, it wasn't then.
no, when you were a kid, I guess.
No, when you're a kid, flaky was. I was lucky, and you know what? We had flakies. Like my dad always, he had a sweet tooth, so he would have a flaky here and there. So he always bought them for us. But they were great to trade, because we had them so often that I would rather trade. I would trade Julie Barbosa for some kind of homemade thing that her mom made for the flaky.
I was so jealous of all the homemade cookies or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I like we had all that homemade stuff, but not not every day. And it would be at my grandparents'. It wouldn't be at my house typically, right? So
Right.
I would rather trade the flaky. I could have that any day of the week. I could have that after school.
So
I want the homemade thing.
Compared to how you grew up and how I grew up to what we're doing now with our daughter, she's in technically grade 8, but we homeschool, but we consider it like unschooling, a mix of homeschool and unschooling. We generally eat at least 2 meals together as a family every day. Some days it's 3 meals we sit down for, and it's not rushed. It's such intentional. We think our food. We spend time together. We're not rushing. There's conversations all the time. Like it's intentional time together. Mm-hmm. And that's something we didn't grow up with, but that's something that is so important. And she loves it. She thrives off that.
Yeah.
That's conscious connection as a family. And I think about like a lot of the families that rush from, work, school, after school activities, pick up fast food on the way to wherever, that there is not that intentional time, and maybe they don't eat any meals together at all during the day.
I think that's very normal for a lot of people. I do, because I think they're not that they're bad people. It's just that they've got us so wrapped up in this rat race that they don't have time. They have to go to hockey. They're barely getting home from work. They're eating out. They're eating out all the time, or they're grabbing,
grab and go.
They're grabbing something from home.
Heat up a frozen pizza or whatever.
Yeah. They just, it's not that they're bad. They just don't have, nobody has time.
It's so interesting because we were living that way at a certain point, and we've consciously made the decision to make time for family, like to prioritize time together. And Evelyn says like, can we have breakfast together today? And we're like, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's organize ourselves so that we make that a priority.
Yep.
So conscious parenting is being aware and intentional with how you show up for your children. And taking into consideration what they need, what they want, what they're asking for, rather than just how you grew up and just repeating what you learned.
Yeah. And I'm saying this from my own personal experience, is like taking time, being aware that, like parents, just being aware that your head's in your phone all the time. Like, I cannot tell you how often I see this. I'm not saying that I'm not on my phone. I do. My whole job is on my phone, with the exception of, other things. But I do a lot of my work on my phone if I'm working. So, which isn't very often. But so anyway, but when I am, I have to be on my phone. And I know that other people have to be on their computers and phones as well. So there's no punishment. It's just I make an effort to try and put it down when my kid comes into the room. Like, I try to put it down. I know that when Evelyn comes into the room, you try to put your phone down.
I've put it down, yeah.
But I see a lot of families interacting differently than we interact with our child. I see a lot of people interacting at dinner. We don't go to eat very often, but when we do, I love watching people, and I see people, couples and their kids. Their kids are now on their own device, and they're like 3 years old in like a booster seat. And they've got their own iPad, and the parents are both just in their phones. They're not even talking to each other.
There's so much disconnection. One of the best things about going to a restaurant growing up as a kid, what I loved was that if there was like paper menus or paper on the table and crayons, I was like, yes, we're going to play. Yes, we're gonna
but
play
you also
together.
had the attention of your parents at home.
Absolutely.
Your parents are cooking and cleaning and whatever. And when you got a chance to go out to eat, you could just have the attention of them.
Absolutely, yeah. So conscious parenting, then, like, one of the main reasons why it's so important is that when we heal ourselves through parenting. So we get triggered as parents all the flippin' time. All the time, every day, we get triggered because our children are our mirror. They show us where we struggle the most because they take on the same qualities. They take on the same coping mechanisms. They process their emotions the same way as we do. They say the same words that we use. So they are our mirror. And when we are triggered by our kids because why can't they do this, or why is she doing this, or why is this happening? It's like, oh, fuck, that's because I do that.
Yep.
Fuck. So it's always like this conscious work of like, okay, what is it that, what do I need to do to respond better in this situation? What is it that I need to heal? Why am I struggling with this? Why is my kid struggling with this? And how can I not shame them? Because I don't like how they're behaving. One of the main parenting strategies actually growing up, especially the boomers, but even previous generations, is shaming.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought it was beating. That was mine.
But that too, yeah. Fear.
Yeah.
Right? Fear, if you don't obey me, I'm going to hurt you. Right? Like that.
But it worked so well.
Yeah.
So
fear is a big driving force of our behavior. And
yeah. I'll be completely honest. I definitely think that that's part of my strategy. Like, I've definitely said to people before, I don't have to beat my kid. Like, I don't have to beat my kid because my kid's afraid of me. So I think there's like an element of, for me, there's a good balance with you. But I do think that kids need to have some fear. I think that we've become a generation of being our kids' friends. And I'm not her friend. I mean, I love her, and I think one day we will be like chill and friends. But right now, I'm not your friend. I'm your teacher or your guider. I don't know what I am.
Guardian.
I'm just. But so I do think that there has to be a level of like, I don't know if it's fear. Maybe that's not the right word. Respect, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, respect. Yeah. But I do know that I see a lack of that in most kids.
I think the reason why, though, that there also isn't respect is that it's mutual. It goes both ways. Kids also have to be respected by their parents. Like they're a human having a human journey. And if we just demand for them to know how to behave because we want them to do something.
Yeah, especially if we're not modeling it.
Right. That's
100% accurate. Yeah.
And that's not fair to them. You're just setting them up for failure. And you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah. Like you want your kid to be something that you can't be.
Right.
You want them to behave a certain way that you can't behave.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
Because now you're just projecting on them.
Sure.
You're projecting what you need, but you can't do for yourself.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Yep. 100% agree.
I think like that's one of the biggest ones is like projecting onto our kids then. Like that's one of the biggest challenges a lot of parents struggle with is that we project all of our own needs, all of our own insecurities, all of our fears onto our kids. So that sounds like you should be doing this. You should behave like this. You should want to do this. You should be better at this. That's shaming. It's all shaming. It's projecting your own shame about how you feel about yourself or the fact that your kid is not doing what you want them to do. And that's what makes you feel like you're not a good parent. You're not good enough as a parent because your kid's doing all these things. Really, we should actually be celebrating that soul that chose to come in. If you look at it from the spiritual lens, our children are like these beautiful souls that choose us as parents and they come through us because they want to have this human experience and learn and grow. And they're this own autonomous sovereign being. But we like to mold and corral because of our own shit. Right? Versus learning to celebrate who they are and their desires, their goals, their interests. And
all while keeping them in line to a certain degree.
Well, it's
because you have to. Because you have to.
Yeah.
Because this is why we have this generation of wild fucking kids. Because there's just parents that think they know what you're saying right now because what you're saying sounds great. But I think that gets mixed in for people with like letting their kids be wild.
Well, I guess okay. Well,
remember the movie that we watched with the kid that kicked the pregnant lady? Remember the Bill Burr movie?
Oh yeah, because they don't have any.
See what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
she kind of sounds like what you're saying, but not. Do you know what I mean? She's saying like this. I'm here to let him explore, and this is how he feels, and he wants to be that way, so it's fine. And then he goes and kicks a pregnant lady in the stomach, and she disciplines him. Like the lady that got kicked disciplines him, and she goes, "Don't speak to my child that way. He's just expressing how he's feeling. He's angry." And she's like, anyway, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's not teaching how to navigate healthy boundaries with other people's space and not channeling their energy in the right way. You're just letting them run wild.
Yeah.
Under the guise of they're a free spirit. But you're not teaching them how to interact with other humans.
Right.
And feel your emotions without hurting anybody else.
Right.
Right? So there's the line of like teaching boundaries and teaching respect for each other's space. And also taking ownership and learning to apologize. Right?
Yeah.
One of the things as parents that every time we disempower our children, every time we shame them, belittle them, instill fear, yell, we dim their light. And you see it in their body, like they drop their head and they become shame and they want to hide and they're not good enough anymore. And if, as a parent, we're all going to fuck up, like yesterday, right? Like that was me. So we're all going to mess up, and we can't take anything back, but we can make things right. And that's the constant work of conscious parenting is that we're constantly showing up every day and trying to be the parent that they need us to be. And also being the parent that we want to be. Right? The best version of ourselves. So when we rise up and we apologize.
When we level up,
we apologize, and we do it from a place of self-compassion, knowing that we're not bad humans for messing up. But when we do that, we give the child back their light. Right? And they come back fully as themselves, knowing like, I don't have to carry that as something that I've done. right? That's not me. That was, you projected that and you took ownership for that. Right? So that child will never carry that.
Yeah. Which we do a lot in this house.
We do a lot of apologizing. But that's so good. Like, I grew up in a home where there wasn't a lot of apologizing.
No, never.
There was
Never.
It would just hold shame and then just sweep things under the rug and then lash out and then move on kind of thing. It wasn't learning how to reconnect, how to show respect, how to take ownership, how to come back into reconciliation. Like, there's none of that that's being taught, like, in my upbringing. And so us learning that in our own home and showing her how to take ownership and showing her how to apologize, she's doing it too.
Yeah.
And doing it from a place not of defensiveness, but from self-compassion.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's a tough one because the defensiveness is it's so easy to get defensive because we're protecting ourselves because we don't want to feel like a bad person. So we get defensive and then we'll push blame or project it onto somebody else.
Yeah.
But to learn that I'm not a bad person for what I've done and I'm still good and I can hold my head up and just say, I'm so sorry. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry I did that to you.
Yeah.
Please forgive me.
Can you imagine? It's kind of crazy, eh?
Even doing that with our own parents. Right? That's part of that ripple effect that we can have with our family is like even modeling healthy parenting for our own parents.
Like, for example, we were at a funeral a few weeks ago and my dad came in an N95 and I was so pissed that I could barely look at him. I was just so mad. And then after I said I was sorry. I was like, look, I was just really like grossed out. I hate looking at anybody in a mask. It makes me uncomfortable.
It's super triggering.
It was, I was triggered and I'm sorry that I was rude.
That was a really lovely moment, Jess. That was because maybe, version of you 5 years ago would have been like, fuck you.
5 months ago.
Right.
5 weeks ago. Yeah, no, for sure. Anyway.
So what are some of the biggest challenges with parenting for you then, Jess?
Well, my default is how I was raised. So my dad beat us and then wouldn't talk to you for a couple weeks. And then all of a sudden he would talk to you and then you knew everything was fine.
That's so crazy now to think about that. Like, I could not imagine doing that to Abby.
So for 2 or 3 weeks, you'd just walk on eggshells and you wouldn't know what was going on, what to say, how to feel. And then it'd be fine.
We had the opposite growing up. It was like my mom was like really emotional or quiet. And my dad would be like very reactive and explode, throw shit. Yeah. And I was doing, then I just did both things.
Right.
I didn't know how to regulate myself.
Yeah. So that's when you say what's the most difficult, it would just be like not doing things that are innately known to you. Like how you're raised is how you raise, right? So I am my parents. This is like something that as you grow older, it just becomes inevitable that you have to. We spend our whole lives trying to not be our parents, I think, when you're young, trying to be your own person. But like at the end of the day, you did choose that person for a reason, and you are that person. You're both of those people. You have both of them, good and bad. So trying to parent and not be the person that you innately are is very, very hard. Because there are times I just want to like, oh my God, I just like to fucking lay into that kid. And I know a lot of people feel that way, and people are too afraid to say it. But like, I'm not going to be afraid to say it. Like, there are times I would love to throw my kid out of a moving car.
Yeah, I want to just throat punch. Yeah. Yeah.
Or kick her in the fucking box. Like, just, I mean, that's fact. And I don't know any other parent that, if they were being absolutely honest, could not tell me that they know that feeling. Like, even I'll even go further. Crazy. and make me sound further crazy than I already am.
Uh-oh.
When Avalon was a baby, when she was brand new, like I wanted to smother her. Like I actually like had my hand and I was just like wanted to be like, shut up. My milk hadn't come in, like hadn't slept in days. I just had a natural childbirth, like it, you know, and then this fucking thing just won't shut up. And the anger in you, the frustration, that's how my dad would react, right? Like my dad would, if he didn't like what you said, whack. Like just whack. So that's in me, right? Like that's ingrained in me. So, you know,
parenting is really hard because we're pushed to our absolute limitations with our patients.
yeah.
And when we have nothing left in the tank and they are still not okay, it is like I'm not going to be all right with this. I'm not going to be the best version of myself right now, and I'm going to have to own it later. But like it's you know, walking up to her room and seeing like, oh my fucking God, what you said you've cleaned it for 2 hours, and there's like, what the fuck? What have you actually been doing in here for 2 hours? You know, and to stay calm and then not shame.
And the funny thing is that we are angry about it, but it's literally my whole life. Like I feel like that was my whole childhood, was my dad coming into my room, snapping because my room was such a disaster, beating me, and then the cycle continues. And I just like couldn't figure it out. I don't know, man. I just wasn't an organized person.
But I was
very
either.
chaotic.
I wasn't either. And like thinking like making my bed every day, like I would sleep on top of it. I've slept on top of it so I didn't have to make it. Yeah. Or I'd sleep in my clothes for the next day because I didn't want to have to get up and find something because I just want to stay in bed.
Av has no problem just sleeping on the mattress. If her sheets are all fucked up, don't care.
She'll sleep on top of her beautiful duvet with a small blanket. And then, and
then wake up going, I feel sick.
Yeah.
I'm cold. It's like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
I have to remember, like, we were kids too, and like I did a lot of the things that she did. And even the lessons of like learning how to keep my room clean, I never figured that out until like I was an adult, really. And even then I would like...
Yeah, I was going to say like pretty much when we moved in together, that's when I was like,
Yeah, by the weekends I would clean everything. Because during the week I'd be rushing, doing one this, I'd throw it on I'd have a pile of stuff or here, there. And on the weekends is when I would clean everything. And now I've learned...
The first date I came over to your house, it must have been a weeknight then.
Fuck off.
Did I ever tell you the story about her bathroom? The first time I used her master bathroom, I went in and I was sitting on the toilet peeing and I like looked down at the floor. Yeah, I saw her hair and I was like, oh my God.
Okay, I wash my hair. I have crazy long hair and
I know, and I love your hair so much.
Stick it on the walls still.
I know, and then I clean it.
No, you don't. You don't like to touch it.
Well, who cleans it? Like, let's be honest.
Okay, I'll clean the bathroom for like a full hour. Okay, I've cleaned, like scrubbed. I was washing the baseboards, cleaning the walls. Like I did a full, okay. And she comes in and I was like, what do you think? And she comes and she goes, okay, now you need to get the toothbrush and then you got to get into the greasy parts over here. And I was like, you get the fucking toothbrush. I did my job. You want it more clean? Jess also comes from a very Italian, you keep everything clean as you use it. Whereas I learned not to do that. Like, the weekends we clean everything up.
So like we're doing canning with my dad a couple months ago, and we have like a turkey fryer, so it's like a propane, you know what I mean, right? Anyway, like a little stove cooker thing, and we're finished canning, and my dad says to Jenny, "Okay, so what do you want me to go down and wash this off?" And Jen was like, "I don't know, I don't think so."
You
and then my dad was like, "What?" No. And he goes down and he's like wiping it all down. And
he also cleans the shovels. He washes the shovels after we work in the garden. And I was like, I don't think I've ever done that in my life.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about cleaning through your family. And I don't mind it. Like, I think it's been helpful for me. Like we still as adults have the opportunity to learn healthier habits,
100%.
how to maintain things. So when I think about conscious parenting with Abby, I'm always thinking like, how can we teach her? How can we show her? And also at the same time, I have to realize, does she want to learn?
You know what, I think it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, when I was a kid, you'd have to go work in the garden. I couldn't have cared less. Here I am working in the garden. You know, now all of a sudden, all those skills, oh, that's why I learned all that. So who knows? It's just one of those things where even I couldn't get my act together with my room, and I hated cleaning. And when my chore was cleaning the bathroom, to this day, Jen knows, my family laughs at me. They make fun of me about how I cleaned, because I was always trying to find the easy way out, or I would do it like a half-ass way. And they always make fun of me for it. So I
think our parents always view us still, like our family members still view us from the lens that they viewed us from when we were younger. They don't view us as who you are and who you've grown into.
That's so true. Because it does bug the shit out of me. Because I mean, we're really busy around here, and I really try to keep I'm not a clean freak. Like, my brothers are crazy. Mm-hmm. They're crazy. Like, the amount of time that they have to spend to be that detail oriented, like dusting on a weekly, I don't do that. I'm like a fucking seasonal duster type thing. Like, I don't need to do it every week or like month. But I mean, they do that every week. Dust, vacuum, wash the walls, the floors, like, you name it. I like a nice, neat, tidy, clean house, you know? If I drop something on the floor, we have dogs, and generally I can still eat it, but I mean, their house, you could lick the floor and you'd be like, fine. But I don't have that. But I know why I learned it all. I know why it was taught to me now, because it I get it.
I learned to take better care of my things. And I think that's the bigger, like, what we're trying to teach our child is like the bigger lessons around the values.
That's a good point, is how to keep things working.
And like our home, like your bedroom, your body, it's your temple. Mm-hmm. And when we learn to respect our temple and take care of it, mm-hmm. like that's the bigger lesson of like, how does that feel when you put that in your body? How mm-hmm. does it feel when you live in chaos?
Right.
So maybe just trying to mm-hmm. teach like the bigger lessons around the values instead of constantly being like, you didn't pick this up, you didn't put that mm-hmm. away, and da, da, da. Mm-hmm. Right? Versus like, how does it feel to live in this?
Yeah, parents know that, because when I help Avalyn with her room, when it's gotten to a point where I'm like, do you need help? And she'll be like, yeah. And we'll clean it, and I'll say, how do you feel now? Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, it feels so good. Mm-hmm. So she knows the feeling. She knows mm-hmm. that that's what she likes. Mm-hmm. And, you know, hey, when we went up there, remember, was it last night? It mm-hmm. looked actually, we were both like, huh.
Yeah, we let her hamster run around and we could find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was good.
We were like, huh, it's not bad.
I have a question. Do you think your parenting styles or how you raise your kid would be different if you had a son, with like what's happening in the world, parenting style,
So Laura asked, would our parenting styles be different if we had a son, and like our approach to...
I think that sons and daughters do need to be raised differently. And I think that boys need fathers, 100%. They need to be hopefully a nice alpha father. I do think that. Because, you know, here's a really interesting point to that. I was listening to this podcast, and it was a single mother, a bunch of single mothers, and then fathers. Okay, I don't think they were necessarily single fathers. I think they were just fathers talking to a panel of single mothers, and the single mothers were talking about how their boys are lacking nothing, not having a father. I'm both, they would say. I can provide, you know, whatever. I don't need you. Okay. And then the host said, how would you teach something about what would you say to your son about life? And the mother said something like, oh, I would tell my son that life is great and there's a lot to experience, and to like just live your life and have fun. And the father said, that's not anything close to what I would say to my son. And the host said, well, what would you say to your son? And he said, I would tell my son that it's a fucking competitive, hard fucking world out there, and that every fucking day there's going to be some other man out there trying harder than you, getting up earlier than you, lifting more than you, working harder than you, trying to go for the job that you want, for the woman that you want, for the life that you want, for the home that you want. And I would tell him that if you want that, you have to get up every fucking day and work and work and work.
Wow.
So can you imagine being a boy raised in a home of a single mother that feels that men are not really very worthy, okay? And they're not different than women, which they are. Can keep talking about this all day. But I mean, just imagine the difference that boy with the father has, the leg up he's going to have, the successes that he might have, versus the boy that is just like, do whatever, live your life, do whatever you want. And then you have this man telling you not to take the easy road, to do the hard work, to be better every day. It's going to be a hard grind. You're going to have to be better. So, yeah, I think that if I had a son, I think I would raise him to be a man, not to be a little beta bitch. We have enough of those out there. We need fucking men. Alpha male boys. There's nothing wrong with a boy that wants to get dirty and play with a fucking truck and rip around on a dirt bike. He can also go in and take care of his sister's baby if he wants to. Like, who fucking cares? But I don't need to purposely raise that boy to be feminized or beta. There's nothing, So, yeah, I think there has to be a difference.
There is a difference. And there's a difference even in my practice, how I work with men versus how I work with women. And the strategies I use for both genders is different.
Interesting.
Because their brains are different.
Right.
Their wiring is different. And so their needs and how they learn are different. Just like when you were a motorcycle instructor and you were teaching women versus teaching men.
Totally different.
You taught them in different ways because they learn in different ways.
Yeah. So what do you think about what the panel was saying about, what do you think about that?
Well, I think from an attachment lens, you need both. You need a mother and a father.
Yeah.
Because that's how you learn how to have relationships with the opposite gender.
Right.
You learn how to respect the opposite gender. You learn how to bond to the opposite gender. So I personally believe you need both parents in order to establish healthy attachment.
Yep. I mean, look, it's not to say that I don't think that gay couples should have children. I'm not saying that. But in particular, in our situation, she has a very active father. And I think it's very important that she learns from him about men.
Yeah, and we love him. We respect him. We want that relationship to flourish.
Yeah.
It's important.
This isn't a very emotional topic for me because I feel like there's a lot of women out there who are depriving their children from that relationship, girls and boys.
Or speaking negatively about the other.
Speaking negatively, it's because although we may have disagreements, that kid doesn't need to know that.
Right.
Right? Like that kid doesn't have to have that knowledge of like certain things that their parents don't agree on or get along about.
Or the value differences.
Yes, completely.
Lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
But what she sees is that we all get along.
Yeah.
And we communicate really well.
Yeah.
And that we're respectful of each other's time. We do our best to do those things.
I think of all of the custody over the years, all of the friends I've had or stories I've heard of these custody battles, and I just think like what a sin. Because most of, and I'm not sorry to say this because it's my opinion that in a large number of these situations it's women being fucking cunty. It's women wanting the control, and it's women being hurt and angry and not being able to work through their shit, so they take the divorce out on the kid and try to keep the kid from the parent. I've heard and seen that enough times. And it's not every time. Of course, in certain instances, there's men that are, alcoholics or violent or whatever the case is. But, I mean, if your husband has an affair, which is awful, it's not the child's, it doesn't mean that the child doesn't ever need to have the relationship with them or something.
I think that's exactly where conscious parenting comes in. So no matter what either parent has done, the conscious parenting is, am I projecting my anger onto the kid for what the other parent did? Am I trying to manipulate with shame or guilt.
Right.
Or being passive aggressive or making comments to try to turn my child against the other parent.
Yep.
Right? So conscious parenting is being self-aware around how you show up as a parent and speak about the other parent.
Yes. 100%.
Because we instill all those beliefs through the kids, and then they learn, children, and this is what we do as kids, we learn to adapt to the home. We learn to adapt to, mom gets angry if I bring this up. So I won't bring this up. Right? So they learn to people please, or they learn to adapt in whatever way to make sure that they can feel safe if the parents are good.
Yeah.
Okay, so our kids learn how to create safety, feel safe by adapting to how the parents are responding. And so conscious parenting is being able to observe when your child's doing that. Because I'll catch our daughter doing that. If I'm on edge, I'll catch her. I'll observe, like she's adjusting her behavior for me, and I'll be like, fuck.
Yeah.
And so then I have to self-regulate and then remind her, like, so to help her self-regulate, is to know that she's safe.
Yep.
That is the hardest work, regulating yourself when you're not okay. So that your child can feel safe. But these are.
But they have to learn from you. If they don't learn that from you, then what do they learn? What's the alternative?
They continue to adapt. And, you adapt in whatever way you need to adapt to feel safe in your upbringing. It will come out later in life as becoming later maladaptive. That is no longer healthy. How you're coping is no longer working.
Right.
The people pleasing is no longer healthy for you. The shutting down part of you is no longer healthy in this new relationship you're in. This avoidance or running away from hard things is no longer benefiting this new relationship. Okay, so when you learn as a kid to adapt to make yourself feel safe, whether that's hiding, whether that's people pleasing, whether that's diminishing yourself, whether that's helping clean the house to bring everybody's stress down, whether that's becoming the mitigator of conflict, the helper.
Interesting.
Okay. You take on that role and you learn that that's how you feel safe in relationships. And so then you play that role out in romantic relationships later as an adult.
Wow.
And then you wonder, why the fuck does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep finding partners that are doing this?
Right.
Why do I keep being the helper in all my relationships?
Right.
Why do I keep being the mitigator? Why am I people pleasing so much? Right? So as conscious parents, we have to become so self-aware of the words that we use, our energy, watching how our child is responding to us, watching what they're not saying. Right? What are they avoiding? What are they not sharing with me? Why aren't they talking? What kind of environment is it that I'm creating that where they can't feel safe to be themselves?
And see, then that's where and that right there, that's the key. Because this is where if you don't have that mindset, you can lose your child like that.
Well, now they're vulnerable.
So fucking quickly.
Yeah.
Whether it's someone online, whether it's teachers grooming them at school, whether it's relatives grooming them, that's all it takes is just us not being aware of what they're going through, what they're thinking, what changes they've made, I pretty well notice everything, I feel. And we have such an open relationship that we're getting video messages about Black Lives Matter and gay people hugging in a store. Like, it's just so, it's wonderful to see that we have such a good relationship in that way. And I hope I hope it continues. Because it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. And even as our children go through their different developmental stages as they get older, they will trigger our own issues at that developmental stage. So So we'll have like our own inner preteen, our own inner child, our own inner teenager come through. And so part of like the conscious parenting is learning when, okay, I'm reactive right now. I'm clearly triggered to something from my own childhood from that age. And so I learned to stop coping at a certain or emotionally responding in a certain way at that developmental stage. So
That's interesting.
no matter, like, I feel like a lot of parents want to be fully healed before they have kids, or that, you know, before, you know, they want to like heal everything before they even bring babies into this world, or if they haven't yet. And I always just say to them, like, fucking, you just wait, because no matter what, you're going to get triggered. And you're going to get triggered at their different developmental stages, even as they become young adults and they're living a life that you don't want. Right?
Sorry, especially when they become young adults.
Yes, because you have no control.
Especially. Yeah.
Right? So like relinquishing the control over them and learning, instead of trying to use guilt or shame tactics to gear them in a certain, to corral them in a way that you want them to behave or live their life, versus learning to celebrate who they are and what they are and what they want to do with their life.
Within reason.
Within reason.
Yeah.
But this is like the conscious parenting is learning that you're going to be triggered to all of your own shit, and you need to learn how to heal yourself through parenting too. So that's being the parent that you needed but you didn't get.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm always thinking like, okay, why am I struggling with this? What was it that I didn't receive but I needed? And how can I do that for her?
I just think though that, like, I have to say it. I have to always bring everything back to trans. I have to. I just have to. You're saying like, oh, like, just, I want to be the parent that I didn't have. But then I look back and I think of like all these fucking emos or whatever they're called, these problem children from the 90s and early 2000s that their parents like stopped, because that's when they stopped disciplining, right? So then you have all these weirdo kids who just needed, who didn't, if they got affirmed, like if like, oh, I'm manic, I'm goth, bleh. And if they're like, parents affirmed them then and were like, yes, this is you, you're an evil witch, devil, like worshiping, yes, that's you, good for you. Like, don't you just think like that's not always like...
Conscious parenting doesn't mean you're just affirming everything that child feels like they're going through.
I feel like that needed to be a disclaimer, because I feel like...
No, because that's not conscious parenting.
Right.
That's people pleasing.
Yeah, okay.
That's not conscious parenting. If we said to Evelyn, throughout all of her developmental stages that, okay, you're the princess, okay, you're the firefighter, you're whatever character from this movie, Elsa, whatever. If we said, yes, you are those things, we're fucking her up. Because now we are confusing her actual identity that she's been born into.
Right. Instead of just playing dress up. Like, we're playing dress up.
Yeah, we're teaching her the difference between reality and imagination.
Yeah. I just think that there's people, though, that want to be what they didn't have, which was a friend. Their parents, what I'm trying to say that I don't think I'm expressing is that their parents weren't their friends. Okay? Their parents were like my, Italian fresh off the boat. That's not a friend. Like, that's not a friend parent. That's a disciplinary. That's like a sergeant general. That's what I had. And so if I'm saying I want to give my kid what I didn't have, which was a friend, then I feel like this is kind of also one of the reasons that we're in this generation of these wild, very confused individuals, because their parents are giving them what they,
So that's still not conscious parenting, because the parent, is projecting their needs that they didn't have met when they were younger.
Okay, good, yeah.
Right? So that's still not healthy.
Right.
You're just projecting what you feel that you've been lacking.
Right.
It's like the parent who pushes the kid to be the professional hockey player and is at every game is following them through the whole, because they're vicariously living through the child.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's pushing your needs.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So I think like there's a difference between like the conscious parenting affirming everything your child's going through. You can validate their experience and their feelings, but you don't have to agree
Right.
as a parent.
Right.
You don't
Like
have,
I'm validating that you feel like a trans. I'm validating that feeling, but you're not.
right, because you also still want to teach them the difference between what is true
Right.
and what is
Right.
maybe not true.
Right. Like you are a masculine girl, you are a tomboy, you are
Or you're still figuring out who you are.
right.
You're still figuring out who you are. Any child that has been raised in a home that hasn't had their needs met, they are now vulnerable and susceptible to outside influence
Yeah.
to pull them in, because we get our needs met through all relationships.
Right.
Whatever like we feel like we're lacking, we'll go to that in order to get our needs met.
Right.
Right? I'll go into
Right.
an unhealthy relationship because he says all these things are all the things I actually need to hear.
Right.
But I'll put on my blinders to all the red flags.
Right.
Right? Because my needs are getting met.
Yeah.
So children whose needs haven't been met are susceptible and vulnerable to outside influence pulling them into unhealthy
Yeah.
relationships, unhealthy activities, unhealthy belief systems.
I just think it needed to be discussed because I get that a lot from people. I'm hearing it from so many people that they're just losing. They don't know what to do.
Well, I think there's a lot of parents that are saying that their kids are coming out as trans, and that, like, if number one, that's a trend. This is not a normal, healthy. This is like this is like the cool thing to do now.
It's just like in the 90s if you were a skater, right?
Punk.
You're punk. In the 80s, 90s, you were grunge. In the 2000s, you're a slut.
You try on different identities as
Then
a
you
kid,
were
right?
a goth, an emo, or emo. I don't know. Avalon always
Emo?
makes fun of me. I don't know.
Emo.
What emo. Yeah, you're right. It is just a phase. I think the problem with this phase is that there's consequences. Anybody could have been a goth, and I mean, me dyeing my hair blue when I was a skater, you wearing dark makeup if you were goth, maybe you got some piercings. It's all things that can be undone in time.
Yeah, and they're just phases to try to figure out who you are and where you fit in this world. But that's part of the developmental stage of that's that era where you are trying out different things,
Right.
to see what fits and what feels good.
Yeah.
So I think I think that there's a huge, there's going to be a huge identity crisis for a lot of kids out there. And I think there's going to be a lot of trauma that will have to be healed because of that. Because of affirmative care.
Right.
I don't think nature gets things wrong. I don't think God gets things wrong.
No.
I think we are on this human journey to learn how to love ourselves so fully.
And to understand our true power.
Yeah.
We have so much power.
Yeah. Conscious parenting in today's world is really challenging because of
Distractions. Number one. There's so many distractions. We're so busy. We're so worn thin. Generally, it's there's 50% of marriages are divorcing. So, 50% of people are one parent home. That's a lot of fucking work. A lot of work.
Yeah, and if it's a single parent home, parents working full time, kids are in school, kids are on their devices, parents on the devices, how much time is there for conscious connection? Versus like you're in just survival mode.
We just said the conscious connection is people being out at dinner on their phones together. Like they think they are having conscious connection. It's pretty wild.
So going off that then, what would you say are some strategies, some tips that you can give anybody listening who wants to learn how to bring more conscious parenting into their home? What are some things that you would recommend based off of what you've learned?
I'm going to speak to people that have young children, because if you have older children, like, our daughter's age and up, like 12, 13 and up, you might have already you might have already created your what do they say? You've made your bed, now you've got to lie in it. I mean, you might already be in that position, right? But I can tell you right now that from I had the first generation iPad for work. So Evelyn was a very small toddler when I had the first iPad. So she was around devices, but limited, very, very limited. And I always made sure when we went out to dinner or to a restaurant or to an event that I had crayons and coloring books and paper and little toys. Like I always had a little backpack of stuff. I don't see that anymore. I see fucking iPads everywhere. So if I was talking to parents, I would say, do not give the children these devices at that age. Don't give them your phone.
Yeah.
A conscious parenting moment would be, I can distinctly remember sitting at the Malibu with Evelyn coloring together.
Yeah.
That would be, those are the things that I would say to people that have little kids. Like, while you still have little kids, is
Play with them.
Or
use your imagination with them.
Mm-hmm. Take the devices away. Don't give them to them at all if you can avoid it.
Have at least one meal together as a family with no devices.
Sorry. There should be no devices at any meal.
Oh
ever.
yeah, no,
Ever.
no at the table. No
TV, no phones at the table for anybody. It's just not going to happen. But again, those are all things that you kind of have to start. I know parents that have done it. I've seen people do it, and I get it. Sometimes it's so crazy that it's the road less traveled. It's the easy way out. And I'm just trying to tell you, with leveling up, do not take the easy way out.
You're going to regret it later because it's going to be harder to come back from.
You can't come back from it. Once you give them the device at the table, how do you ever take it back?
And you're just teaching them unhealthy coping. And now you're wrecking their reward system with their dopamine. You're literally changing their brain because you're tired.
Yeah.
You're fatigued. You don't care anymore, right? Like, it's just like, it's just easier. Mm-hmm. You are changing their brain. Mm-hmm. And their adaptation is now going to need more stimulus, faster reward response, and their stress tolerance is going down. So,
yeah. So that would be one thing I would say. Another thing I would say, this is just my opinion. I could be very wrong in this, but I never spoke to our daughter like she was a baby. Never. I think that's something... I had people comment on that a lot.
oh yeah.
When she was littler. Yo, what are you doing? Why would you do that? What are you thinking? We don't do that. That's hot. No, don't do that. Like, oh, Papa, like, no, Evelyn, why would you say that? We don't say that to people. Or, like, I don't know. Like, I never baby talked her. I just always felt like she's a person, and I'm going to speak to her like a person.
No, I agree with that.
I mean, I always own my shit. That's something that I think you guys have to, if you're parenting, I know this is the hardest thing to hear, but this is something I've really always tried to do. I think I'm sure well before you, I think you can probably. When I met you, this isn't something that was new. I just have a memory problem, so I can't really remember. But I feel like, for the most part, when I screwed up with Evelyn, I would tell her. That was the biggest thing. Like, because I am a snapper. Like, I am, as you can tell in my demonstration of how I spoke, it's like, but like the helicopter, Joey talks about the helicopter. So there's this story that Evelyn always tells about. She was probably 3, and I don't know what happened. I think it was I was trying to have her clean up her toys. She wouldn't do it, just kept pissing around or something, and I took this helicopter that was my favorite toy. It was badass, and I whipped it across the backyard. And she'll never forget that. Like, and she right away knew, and she did what I had asked her to do. And so it was valuable on both ends, because she has to know that there's a limit. There are boundaries. You crossed it. And then for me, I knew right away by her face that that was a shitty thing to do, and I felt really guilty for it. And I said, like, I'm really sorry. I should not have thrown your helicopter like that. I was angry because you weren't picking up your toys, and I reacted. And okay, thank you, Mommy. Like, 3 years old.
I think that again, like if we don't respect our child, we don't respect them, if we don't show them respect, and talking down to them is not respecting them.
Yeah.
It's establishing hierarchy stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Also, not babying them consciously. Like I worry. Every parent worries so much for their kid, but I also thought it was important that she was independent. So at grade 2 level, she has to walk to school alone. Not alone. Like there was a buddy that she walked with, but he was only in her grade. So you're like, time to go. You have to be ready and pack your bag. She had those kind of responsibilities at a young age because I felt it was important.
Look, kids are very adaptable, and they can do so much more than we give them credit for in our society of how we live. Because if you go to other countries and you see what kids are doing, like we bubble wrap the shit out of our kids.
100%. Absolutely. So I think it's important to make your kids, put in the effort and do and have a.
Let them experience hard things.
Thank you. Yeah. Let them experience hard things. Let them fall.
Yeah. Let them make mistakes. That is how they grow. That is how you grow as a parent too. Yeah.
Yeah. Tough, right? And not living vicariously through your kid. I mean, that's a big one. That was me. Ugh. A lot of people know the hockey story about how Avalyn was 2 in a diaper, and I signed her up for hockey and lied and said she was 4. And I don't know. It lasted. She was
pretty traumatized her first game and just cried, and
it was 6 weeks. It was 6 weeks of it was just horrible. And then finally I just said, okay, we're not doing this. And that was it. She never touched another hockey stick in her life. No desire whatsoever. And that was a big lesson for me.
And now big lesson. She's an artist. She's an artist through and through, very talented artist. And part of how we consciously parent her is investing in her artistic abilities.
Yeah. Art lessons,
materials. Yeah. We build on it. She's got her business going.
Having nice friends who help digitize things and can make things look cool and exposing her, right? Instead of channeling all of my energy into her sexual identity as a fucking 12-year-old, I will channel my energy into her skills, into her likes, into her passions.
What sparks her spirit? What lights her up? Her art.
Yeah.
So we channel all of our support, our love, our finances into building her up in this way, because ultimately she's learning so much more about the entrepreneurial world, running a business, managing money, business expenses. She's learning the craft, how to keep persevering and showing up in different ways and expanding herself. So many lessons in that for her and for us as parents.
Yeah. Yeah. Why don't you go get that mushroom for me? I don't know. Anything else that you wanted to touch on, or do you know what our time is?
Yeah, it's an hour 5.
Oh, okay. That's good.
That's pretty good. What do you think?
2 dykes and a cow.
2 dykes and a cow.
Yeah.
Well, this was a nice conversation around parenting for any. I just want any of you that are listening, because I'm sure the only ones that are listening are parents themselves. Just know that it's ongoing. It's every day is the work, and every day you show up and working hard to become the best parent that you can be is ultimately how you're going to also heal yourself. And it is the most rewarding and liberating and enjoyable journey.
And don't forget, if you do it right, they won't put you in a nursing home. If you fuck up, Shady Pines, baby. You're going to be living at Shady Pines, but if you're a good, conscious parent, you'll have a generational relationship. And, you may end up having happiness. You may not find yourself miserable. And in a Shady Pines. Anyway, this has been 2 Dykes and a Cow. signing off.